Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. So for those who don't know me, I am Chris Lowe. I'm the TMT specialist here at Bloomberg, so welcome to everyone. We have an amazing morning, which has been clearly put together by the great Carson Rist from Concentric and all of his team. So very much looking forward to all the panels, and I'd like to obviously extend our thanks from Bloomberg to Concentric for putting on an excellent event. One thing I'd like to ask you all to do is if you could tweet as much as possible about the event. I'm not sure there is actually a Twitter handle, but I'm sure I'll start that off and we can follow from there. Some of the presentations are going to be on Bloomberg Live, which is an internal system within the Bloomberg terminal, whereby we stream to terminals all over the world. So there will be a global audience via Bloomberg. And I think without further ado, I'd just like to hand over to Carson, but thanks again.
Yeah, thanks to Chris and the Bloomberg team that has been so kind to let us use his premises here and the services surrounding that. First of all, Concentric we are an early stage investment firm focusing on European technology companies. So this is spot on for us. When we were discussing last year with Chris regarding some exciting topics that we could focus on in 2016 and a series of events. The first topic that came to mind was cross-border e-commerce. As you all know, exciting area, huge growth. Markets such as India and China are opening up, and our friend from Amazon, Martin, will cover that in the keynote. Companies as a whole, they're pretty good in terms of identifying new markets and opportunities. How they are going about it and how they're going to do it is a different issue. And that is the challenge. So this session will focus on some of the challenges and complexities around cross-border e-commerce. I can mention a few: logistics, customs, currencies, payments, fraud, etc. There'll be many, many others mentioned in today's session. The session will also focus on how technology can assist and how can help us to reduce the complexity. So in this session, we are hoping to focus on some of the key issues. Very much an interactive session. So there are going to be a couple of people from Bloomberg here walking around with a microphone. So just raise your hand or shout out if you want to ask a question to the panelists. And when we finish this morning, we hope that we can all leave with some key learnings and be enthused about cross-border e-commerce and the business opportunities. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to this morning's keynote speaker, Martin from Amazon.
Right. Good morning, everybody. Can everybody hear me fine? This is the first test of my microphone. Right. So first, I'd just like to introduce myself. I'm Martin Gardner. I work on what we've termed the Global Vendor Management Team at Amazon. I've been at Amazon for about nearly 8 years now, predominantly working internationally and mainly working on the Kindle team. So I joined to help all the launches of the Kindle in the UK, internationally, and then most recently India and Australia. About a year ago, I was looking for a new opportunity within the company, and it actually worked at the right time to join what we've now set up as a global vendor management team. And we are specifically set up to meet and try and conquer some of the challenges of cross-border e-commerce, which makes it very pertinent for me to be here speaking to you today. We've realized as we expand internationally that we need experts in different areas of the country and in different skills to help our partners to work with us better on a global stage. So what am I going to talk about this morning? I'm going to go through a little bit about the opportunity. I'm sure everyone's very, very, very aware of the opportunity, but let's just touch on that and how we see this at Amazon. And I guess you guys would be interested in understanding a little bit about how we think. And I think probably after 8 years at the company, I've got a little bit of an insight into how Amazon approaches problem solving and opportunity. And I'd like to just talk to you a little bit about that. And that leads me nicely into this whole piece about Amazon and generally anybody identifying global customer needs and working backwards to meet them. Finally, meeting the challenges, some of the things that we've done, that we are doing, that we plan to do, and a little bit of summary at the end. So to start with, am I always good standing here, or am I blocking people from this? This is where we are at the moment in terms of geographical spread at Amazon. So we're in 11 marketplaces globally. We have customers buying in 185 countries, and we have over 100 fulfillment centers. And we're operating in more than 30 categories. Depending which country you're in, it can be 35, 40 different categories. And we're expanding all the time. Some people are quite surprised, I think, when we show this map to see there are quite large areas of the world where we do not have a local website presence, but people in those geographies are going to order from us in various other places around the world. And we're optimized to get to their orders to them as fast as possible. On the global vendor team, as I say, we are in the same time zone as the people that we need. So if someone in China wants to talk to a shoe vendor in the UK, that comes across my desk and I can help them to do that. We also can help our teams around the world to find the people that they should be talking to, because we have great insight into what people are looking at online. What are people in China looking at on Amazon.com? What are people in Germany looking at? Amazon Japan. I mean, we can see where things are moving or should be moving around the world and are ideally placed to be able to make those connections and help link the person that's selling to the person who wants to buy. And then we, obviously, once we've done that piece, we then need to put together the whole end-to-end support piece to make it happen. This is the opportunity. I don't think you guys need to go through this, but just to show you quickly, these figures are somewhat old, but let's just look at this in terms of where China was forecasted to grow from 2014 to 2018. It's more than double. India, where I'm focusing quite a lot of my work on, going from 4 billion to 24 billion over 4 years. But as I say, these are actually a little bit out of date now. Some numbers I've just seen recently puts the China opportunity at almost half of that again. And an interesting piece on this, actually, that a colleague of mine pointed out, is that if you add up all the growth in the rest of the world, it doesn't equal the growth in China. So that's just an interesting piece to call out. And another sort of headline figure at the moment, when you start looking at opportunities, particularly in Asia, there are 650 million Indians will be online in 2020 from about 300 million now. And that means that 1 in every 3 incremental internet users globally is going to come from India. So when you start looking at things like this, you can see where the opportunities for the future are. So what do we do when we come to look at operating internationally? Well, the one thing that we do at Amazon in every part of our business is we start with the customer and we work backwards. So the first thing that we will do is we will identify customer need. We do not build something and try and sell it. We identify the need and we work backwards. And the first thing that we do in all of our teams across Amazon, and I know this is public knowledge, so I can talk about this, is that we write a press release. So we know what we're going to take to the consumer and what the benefits are going to be for them. And then we'll work backwards and try and work out how we can deliver the best possible, deliver that on that press release. So for example, we know that customers in Asia are looking for trusted sources of international brands. How can we go about meeting that customer need? So what we would do is we've identified that they want international brands, but what international brands do they want? Let's think about this globally. One of the interesting things about doing my job in the last year has been that I was been surprised how many major global companies do not have a plan for India, for example, or have not thought through the end game. selling size 9 shoes in China is tricky. You need size 4 or 5. Are you actually making the right size products? What are the colors that people like? These seem obvious questions now, and but actually a lot of people are not thinking like that. And so these are the things that we're thinking, we're helping people to just think about. What's already there? There's a hell of a lot of stuff already in these places. So where is the opportunity? There is always an opportunity. How do you fit into that? What are the price points? Obviously key. If you're going to do cross-border e-commerce, there are an awful lot of extra costs that need to be factored in depending on where you manufacture. So you might need to just think about your whole supply chain. We often ship things from the UK or from the US to India or China. They're probably made there. Are there better ways of doing it? Can you negotiate different MOQs? Can you ship from China directly to somewhere else? Start to think about how you move things around the world, and that's what we're doing. Design and invest to meet your customers, and work backwards. So then when I'm talking to, so I'm working, just to clarify, I'm working completely cross category. So I might be talking to someone about snow chains, shoes, clothes, footballs, just done into India, all sorts of different things, wooden toys back into China. So what I do, I don't profess to be an expert in any of these areas. So what we do is we have to have some very strict ways of approaching things. And what are things, so what we do is we look at what people are worried about. People are worried about language, translations. What about compliance? Am I going to be allowed to sell it? How can I promote it when I'm in the UK and this is going to be in China? How will I get it there, etc.? Is there a demand? What paperwork we needed? And obviously, how can we make it as easy as possible? So our team take all of those questions, and they're constantly new questions coming in, and we say, our vision is that customers can buy any product they want from around the world, and in order to be successful, we need to answer all of those questions for our customers. So, for example, let's just take these quickly through. Language and translations, obviously, if you're thinking about someone like China, you're very unlikely to have a Chinese speaker on your team. You may have, but a lot of people don't have, so we use third parties of someone. If you work through us, we do all the translations. So we translate stuff into Mandarin. Here's a great example. This is a really, I don't know if any of you have seen this. This is a really funky, from Hackney. These guys make a thing called Sugru, which you can fix anything with. Highly recommend it, by the way. We're working with them in China. We translated all their pages, and the Chinese absolutely love this. And I'm sure the next thing is going to be in a big push with them in India. This is taking, we recognized that the Chinese were looking for this elsewhere. So do think about this as a global opportunity. Getting things to market segments, well, obviously, if you're working with us, this is what we do. We're a logistics company. We can move things around the world very quickly. This is just a snapshot of what we're doing in China. This is an old picture of India, but there were 3 FCs in 2014. There are 21 now. 21 distribution centers right across India. And a lot of those were built in just the last year. We partner with people like the local experts, like the India Post, and you adapt to your local environment. So these are our delivery carts, and this is a photograph that I took in Beijing. The paperwork is people's biggest issue, and this is where we put a whole team in place. We look at guidance on product and trade compliance. We can help people to understand what the regulations are and point them to the places where they can get advice. There are also, obviously, people like the UKTI that will do this for you. We offer complete logistics support. We might pick it up, ship it, work out all the customs for people. And obviously, there are other things. If there are certain things that need after sales, that need warranties, all of these are questions and problems that mean that people may not trade across e-commerce and trade across borders, and we can help to deal with that. Finally, and most importantly, and I stress this, most importantly, having solved all of those other issues, if you do not invest in marketing and merchandising locally into these new market segments, then you're going to be starting from a very low base. Put aside money for investment. We can do a huge amount to help people, but without the resources that come from the vendors and our partners, it's very difficult. So this is one of the things that we're doing in India. This is our international store, where we highlight to people all of the stuff that we're bringing in that isn't available elsewhere. We do the same thing in China. And then we do specific promotions. So this is a promotion that we were doing in India for gourmet foods. We particularly did a thing about great British foods, which went really well, pulling together shoes that we're importing into China Wine, we cannot get enough wine into China. Red wine, I don't know if the Chinese people here can vouch for the red wine drinking in China, but we're doing incredibly good business there, shipping stuff around the world in terms of wine. And then, of course, using the local expertise. Again, my other point here is that there are local companies, not just us, there are people in China, there are people in India, people all over the world that have local expertise. And I certainly would recommend that you talk to those people. You know, you want someone in China that can get you onto Baidu. You know, you're probably not going to be that good at getting keywords in Chinese. So get someone else to do it for you. Cost all of that into your operations and think about it. And then work with people like us to capture the moments across the year that you may not be aware of. You know, the biggest opportunity in India is Diwali, which is October, November time. It's not Christmas. Christmas is quite small. Nobody sells anything during Chinese New Year. They sell it before Chinese New Year and after it. Chinese New Year, everyone stops. In fact, everyone stops working for 2 weeks. So it's just having that local piece of knowledge. So how do we meet the challenges? I'm running low on time. We'll check product, do the logistics. We'll handle international processes in terms of finance, which I know is key for a lot of people and one of the reasons that we're here. We'll work out the logistics. We'll help people target. And we'll also provide information on how things have sold. So I would then finish up with my top tips for cross-border e-commerce. And this is a photograph. Again, I apologize for the low quality of the photographs. I don't have a future in photography, but this is something that I took. This is a wraparound that we did around the Hindu last summer. It went around. We're doing a lot in India. We're adapting, which is another one of my points. We're adapting to the local environments. In the UK, you may not have seen a huge amount of Amazon advertising apart from Kindle and Prime. In India, we are a very big spender in terms of offline. Part of what we're doing is educational. We're getting people to understand that online is an opportunity. Offline traditionally has been to the tier 1 cities, but when you go offline, you can reach 19,000 PIN codes right across India. So it's a huge difference in terms of being able to access your customers. So I guess my key points would be think local. What will work, where you're going. Think about where the opportunities are, what are the times. Work with people like us to do that. Work backwards. Don't send size 12 shoes to China. Think about the size of sheets. You can think about red's great, China. Investigate, research. If you're sending dog food, pet food to India, realize that people tend to feed their animals, the pets, from the table and don't buy a lot of dog food. So there's also a lot of restrictions around that. So many different areas that you need to really just think about. And you know, we have that knowledge, so we're helping people all the time with that. Consider using third parties with specialist knowledge locally. And I guess I should have put this right at the top. Be prepared to invest and be prepared to start small. I think the other thing is that there's a question of perspective. We are looking at India as a long-term investment, as we do for everything that we do at Amazon. This is about the long term. This is not about, hey, look, there are 1.2 billion people. If I do this next year, I'll be a millionaire. We are about building, investing. So as we invest in getting people to buy online, if you guys are online with us at the same time, you'll grow as we grow. And then as people move to online, then the future will be where the opportunity grows. It's not a quick win. It's a long-term investment. That 15 minutes went very quickly. So if anybody would like to talk to me, that's my email address. I know that we can sometimes be very difficult to find at Amazon. That's my email address. Please email me. Not promising I'll email you back, but please email me. And you'll be very welcome. And I'd just like to finish with a video that that the guys made in India, which I think hopefully exemplifies some of the things that I've been talking about. Thank you.
ठीक है, हाँ ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, हाँ ठीक है.
आज करवा चौथ है.
हेलो हेलो तू ठीक है?
रेडीमेड ड्रेस, शूज, हैंडबैग, परफ्यूम, वॉच, ज्वेलरी.
बीवी जब भी ऑप्शन मांगे, एक्सपेक्टेशन छत पे टांगे, रूठी है तो ऑप्शन से उसका मन लल जाओ.
बेटर से बढ़ के बेस्ट को तो लो, ओके को भी खूब तो लो. हिंदुस्तानी दिल कहता है और दिखाओ और दिखाओ.
ढोकला थेपला खाकरा फाफड़ा मुठियाँ मठियाँ चूड़ों गाठियाँ
भूख का सायरन जहाँ बचा बस वहीं बड़ी सी बुफे लगा दो हिंदुस्तानी पेट पुकारे
और दिखाओ
सल्लू ऋतिक शाहिद आमिर शाहरुख जितने सुपरस्टार हैं सबकी नकल हमें करके दिखलाओ हिंदुस्तानी दर्शक बोले ओ पुत्र और दिखाओ
जन्म सिद्ध अधिकार है चुनना कम में सेटल न होना मुन्ना हिंदुस्तानी दिल कहता है और दिखाओ
स्ट्रॉबेरी ब्लूबेरी मस्त बनाना खट्टी चेरी कूल वनीला पोमेग्रेनेट चॉकलेट लीची रसीला
और दिखाओ
सास बहू और फैमिली के कॉम्बिनेशन लाख बनाओ हिंदुस्तानी दर्शक बोले
और दिखाओ बॉब कट ग्रुप कट बस कट रेजर कट बिजनेस कट बैंक कट हीरो कट शॉर्टकट पावर कट
वनडे हो या 2020 हर एक मैच पे जनता सेंटी काम काज सब छोड़ के बस टीवी में घुस जाओ
और दिखाओ अपना नारा और दिखाओ हिंदुस्तानी दिल कहता है और दिखाओ
अब Amazon ऐप डाउनलोड कीजिए और बरकरार रखिए चुनने का मजा।
और दिखाओ